Hi there, my name is Caroline Gimark. I am a PhD student in the Couple and Family Therapy program here at Kansas State University. Amber Benham is an associate professor of Couple and Family Therapy at Kansas State University as well. We have co-created this presentation based on techniques that we're using in an upper level HDFS class that we're teaching this semester. And so we're hoping that this presentation finds you well. We've set it up in a format so that you have this PDF document that you can refer back to, as well as this voiceover so that you can understand why we made the decisions that we did, things that maybe we could improve upon for the next time, and how these assignments even went and worked within our class as well. So our whole purpose was to incorporate public scholarship within our undergraduate courses. And so I think we were able to succeed at that. And I hope that you will be able to see what we've done and as we move throughout this document. Before I forget to mention, so Amber was mostly working with the in-person class, although I assisted with that. And I was mostly in charge of the online class. And so through that, we made decisions based on what we thought would be useful for these classes in terms of engaging in public scholarship and even how to teach public scholarship to these students. And so for those of you that are maybe less familiar with public scholarship is the idea that we're taking things that may be more accustomed to an academic audience or to a research audience and making it very easy for the general public to understand. And so we have different formats that we've used and implemented in our classes to help that happen. The first one you can see here is blogging. Amber and I have both used some version of blogging within our classes, but we used it in different ways. So this first example here is how I implemented blogging with the online class. And so it's called the In My Life blog. This was taken and adapted from another person that was presenting that used this with her own online students. And so what this was is it replaced textbook quizzes and discussions, because we've all had classes where we log on and we've got a discussion. We have to respond to 2 different classmates and it gets boring. And so this was kind of my idea, not my original idea, but my idea to take this and use it instead of those options, just because it felt easier, it felt more applicable to my class. And so what this meant is that they were reading the textbook, and along with reading the textbook, they were asked to create a blog. If we scroll down here, we use Blogger as our platform, and so we've got some information there on how to even use Blogger and what that means. Blogger does not have to be the platform that you use if you choose to use this assignment. However, it was very useful for my class. Okay, so let me scroll down here to the rubric. So what they were asked to do is they were asked to read the textbook, a chapter of the textbook, and then put it into their own words in a way that was easy to understand. And so this meant that they were trying to come up with some combination of both personal experiences, so life experiences that they had or had seen friends have, and then also incorporating that with textbook materials. So it was interesting to see, because they've had this assignment all semester. So every week they would submit their blog posts, and then I would go in and read them and try to figure out how they could improve. So I did see a lot of improvement from week to week. The biggest ones that I saw is a lot of it started out saying, you know, in chapter 1, we read about this. And so trying to move them away from that, instead of just saying chapter 1, actually getting them to talk about the material and trying not to mention the textbook, because if the general public were reading this blog, they would have no idea what chapter 1 was or what the figure on page 37 looked like. So it was interesting. It was great to see that this has actually progressively gotten a lot better as the semester has gone on. So now they're writing blog posts that feel very applicable, very easy to understand, and they feel good about it. You can tell that they put a lot of work and effort into these blogs to put them in a format that's going to be easily understood. So the next example we have here is how Amber utilized blogs in her class. And so with this one, what she did is she had her students take an article, like a journal article, and then turn it into something that they could, and then turn it into a blog post. And so what this is teaching is it's trying to, in both cases, it's trying to take content that was not necessarily designed for the general public and make it easy to understand and put it in bite-sized chunks for those people to understand. Because a lot of the times when we are writing journal articles or even writing textbooks, it's designed at a very specific audience. When we think about journal articles, it can be very difficult to read through those just because it's full of so much jargon. It's got so much other different content that the general public is not even going to understand what the point of the paper is. So Amber used this information in her class, as well as examples on how to even communicate these ideas. Because it can be very hard, especially if we were used to reading textbooks and we're used to reading journal articles, to then sit there and say, I don't know how I would explain this to my mom, or I don't know how I would explain this to my grandma, or even my kid. I don't know how to explain this to my 10-year-old. And so that's helpful for them to look into. Yeah, and you can see that we've got, this is her rubric and her explanations for this. We're going to scroll down to open public scholarship format assignment. And so I use this in a couple different ways. Amber had them work with blogs, and this is actually an assignment that's upcoming, so I'm not sure how it's gone yet, but I'm excited to look into it. What they had to do was just create some sort of public scholarship that was about their curriculum, because throughout this entire course they've been developing curriculum. And so this public scholarship assignment was solely focused on the idea of having them come up with something that related to their curriculum. And so with that, I gave them a lot of leeway so that they could create a blog post. They could create a blog post, which is what they've been doing all semester, but they could also create a video. They could create an infographic, whatever it might be, but something that's very easy to understand to incorporate into their curriculums. And so the other example where I saw this work out very, very well, I also TA for an intro to human development class. And so in that class, after we transitioned online after COVID-19 was happening, I had them create some sort of public scholarship centered around how to parent children that are now stuck at home. And so they got really, really creative with this. I could see that they were excited. Several of them created infographics. A few of them even created podcasts where they were giving information out that was tips to these parents that were trying to figure out now how to deal with the current pandemic. And so we've seen a lot of success when we've been watching our students go through this process. It's been an important assignment to incorporate not only the public scholarship, but also the blog assignments, just because it's teaching our students how to communicate what they're learning with other people. Our students are going into a variety of different fields, some of them nursing, some of them curriculum development, therapy, personal finance. There's a lot of different things here. And so if they're unable to take the information that they've learned and put it in a format that's going to be easily understandable, then it's going to be hard for them to communicate with the clients that they may have or with the people that they're interacting with that need this information. And so through these assignments, we've seen a lot of success with our students better being able to explain all this information because it helps them learn it better as well. So by making them do these different assignments and having them complete them, we've seen them improve how they are explaining these concepts to other people. The other thing we've seen is a lot of engagement. So for the most part, people are excited to do these assignments, which honestly, I'm a student myself, and at the moment we're doing some online discussion questions, and I understand the necessity of it, but sometimes it's difficult to learn in that environment. Sometimes it's difficult to really see the purpose of the point of doing that assignment besides just, I need to do this to fill time. And so what we've seen with our students that are completing these assignments is that they're actually enjoying it, which is good. We want them to enjoy going to school, and they're better able to explain what's happening. So again, the content that they're reading, they're able to translate into something that's obtainable. And so even if they're not going into something related to this field, then they still have this skill set to be able to take something, to think about it, to make sure they understand it, and then talk about it with other people that may not be in this field. So I hope this video was helpful. We have given you guys access to this document because we think that it was really helpful. A lot of this is just screenshots from our syllabus. So it has a lot of very useful information in it. We wanted to talk about why we even chose to do this. And we both value public scholarship very highly. If we are only writing these things for academic audience, then things aren't going to go very far. It's not going to reach the wide audience that it needs to, and it's not going to create that big of an impact. So by giving resources to these students to be able to talk about everything, it makes Amber and I feel a lot better about what we're doing, about what we're teaching, and how we're providing things for these students. So I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.